To anybody out there who thinks, go to another state, just go to another state.
I say no because if I shouldn't have to. I shouldn't have to leave my home to ask us or to tell us that we just need to leave our home, our family, our roots. That's asinine. That's asinine. We should all be able to have the care that we need in our home states. We shouldn't have to flee.
I'm a sixth-generation Idahoan. I'm very proud to be one. I had to leave the state. I had to drive 6 hours away. Couldn't be with my family, couldn't be with my friends. It was trauma on tragedy.
They always say, like, oh, the law should have allowed you to just do this. And if you were bad off enough, then they should have just performed it for you. And that's not the reality. Our doctors don't speak legalese.
There are so many women that this happens to that don't have the resources, that don't have the support, that are stigmatized and forced into silence.
My daughter was given a nickname of Spooky because she was due on Halloween of this year.
And to anybody out there who thinks, go to another state, just go to another state.
I say no because if I shouldn't have to. I shouldn't have to leave my home to ask us or to tell us that we just need to leave our home, our family, our roots. That's asinine. That's asinine. Family, our roots. Tell us that we just need to leave our home, our family, our roots. I shouldn't have to. I shouldn't have to leave my home. I shouldn't have to. I shouldn't have to leave my home. I shouldn't have to. I shouldn't have to leave my home to ask us or to tell us that we just need to leave our home, our family, our roots. That's asinine.
And to anybody out there who thinks, go to another state, just go to another state.
I say no.
Just go to another state, just go to state, just go, just go to another state.
I'm just going to pause it right there and say welcome to everybody. This is a preview, a trailer for an ABC News kind of an investigative journalism piece that is showing the real impact of abortion, super restrictive abortion laws. It's called On the Brink, and it's on Hulu. I'm hoping that they will do more episodes. This is a 45-minute episode, and it's good. But we're gonna need more. So I hope you're Hulu, you and ABC maybe. Let's work on this name though. Impact X Nightline. What is that? That's just confusing. Impact X. Impact 10? I don't know. I don't like that. Doesn't matter what I think. I'm your brother Seamus. This is a excellent investigative journalistic, video journalistic type piece. You can watch it on Hulu. I'm pretty sure you can still get free Hulu, can't you? Is Hulu still free? I feel like it is. Anyway, this is a focus on a very... Part of what I like about this is it's a focus on a subset of women, families really, who are being... It's not enough to say it's unfair treatment. these families are being basically targeted by laws that are so strict and so threatening to physicians that they're so afraid that they're going to get prosecuted. And then you have attorney generals like Bill Paxton in the state of Texas making a very big point of saying, we're going to get you if you even help, if you even assist. We're going to go after you. They're saying this to the doctors, right? Now, not all physicians are the same, and some are more easily intimidated than others. But then you also have the hospitals weighing in. How do they know? How do the physicians know that they're not going to get sued? They don't know that. One thing I hope physicians will do is I hope they will band together, link arms, the families, the moms, the neighbors, the cousins, the relative who lives in Guam that you haven't seen in 13 years. You guys need to link arms. The families need to link arms, and the physicians need to link arms, and hopefully get a family to physician link. And you're going to have to fight this. You're going to have to fight this old school. We don't have time. The Trump administration will not fix this. If anything, they'll make it worse. So in the meantime, even people that voted for Trump, even if you voted for Trump, just understand what's coming now is that because he effectively obliterated a woman's right to an abortion nationwide, 12, 16, 20 states now have laws that are so confusing that even when you're having, let's call it a fetal anomaly, or let's just say it like it is, if there's a problem with your pregnancy, like for example, sometimes the fetus just dies. It happens. Pregnancy is a dicey game. There's a reason Mother Nature loads you with more ovum than you could ever hope to reproduce in your lifetime, because Mother Nature knows that pregnancy is dangerous. And that's why I'm not saying this to be mean in any way, but I want to caution everybody out there away from the idea of naming your fetus. Because A, there's no conscious thought happening yet. The thalamocortical connections have not been made. There's nobody home. It's a vessel. It's becoming a baby. But if you name it and start trying to have a relationship with it when it is not capable of any form of conscious thought, it's like talking to somebody who's in a coma. There's nobody in there yet. There will be. You know, they used to call it the quickening. And I think in a more scientific way, I think they understood that the flicker of personality comes on after your brain is pretty highly developed. Late. Some say not until 9 months, 10 months is their consciousness there. It probably starts around 6 months, but until there's consciousness there, you can anthropomorphize, which you can talk about the fetus as if it's a fully developed human, but you're setting yourself up for pain, is what I'm getting at. I'm not saying it's like a sin or anything. I mean, I am a preacher, and if I see a sin, I'll call it a sin. It's not a sin, but I think it's healthy. Let's put it this way. I'll say it the way a psychologist of 30 years should say it. It's healthier to focus on the idea that pregnancy is unpredictable. And what is it? 1 out of 8, 1 out of 10 women will have some sort of miscarriage type event. It might play itself out just fine. And I think most of the time it does play itself out just fine. But there are subgroups of women who are now being harassed, I think is a good word. But they're being harassed by bullies at the state government level. And those bullies have enough power and enough extremism behind them right now that they can effectively target women and deny them care, force them, as the young woman says in this video, force them to leave the state. And she calls them out on it, and these are real people. I know some of you conspiracy theorists are out there. I won't say your name is Cindy, but no, we get a regular person on the TikTok feed that likes to say that I'm misinforming people. But what I'll say to you, Cindy, my dear friend, and ongoing harasser, we agree on something important, which is that women should get care and they should immediately seek care and they should stand firm and bring support with them and ask for the standard of care, which is often called an abortion. It might be mifepristone or another medication. It might be a dilation and curettage, a D&C, which cleans out the uterus so it stops bleeding and allows the uterus to close, from what I understand, so that infections are prevented. If you make women wait, otherwise young, healthy women will die if you make them wait too long. That's what happened to Amber Thurman in Georgia. The physicians didn't know if it was okay to give her a D&C. So when somebody tells you, oh, miscarriage treatment's available, now unfortunately, you have to say, well, what do you mean exactly? Are you going to force me to take a pill that doesn't work? When the standard of care would say I need a D&C or a DNE, which is, I believe, a dilation and evacuation. It's all designed to simply deal with the fact that the pregnancy is no longer viable. The fetus, which is not yet a person, has no conscious mind to speak of. Not until the very end of gestation does the brain click on. Yes, fetuses respond, or feti, if you will, they respond to stimulation of all kinds. Those are nerve impulses going nowhere. There's nowhere to receive them. They're just working on the signaling. They're putting in the circuits, and then at a certain point, your consciousness pops in there. Psyche, I believe it's a Greek word, right? What's it mean? I don't know. Spirit? We all know that if our consciousness leaves us, we're not a person anymore. We are now, what do people say? Brain dead. I know it's harsh, but it's an easy way to think of it. And what most of us come to understand is that the body is not the person, right? I think even Jesus would agree with that. But what we're doing is we're letting otherwise healthy young women slip into what's known as sepsis, and we're allowing them to bleed out, and we're allowing them to go in within, I don't know, in one case it took like 20 hours, and this 18-year-old woman died in Texas because they would not treat her. And people will tell you miscarriage care is available, because whether you induced an abortion with a pill or whether you're just having a miscarriage, you may need help. Is it rare? Yes. But Amber Thurman died within months of Trump's abortion bans kicking in. As soon as Trump stripped women of that right, and he did it through the Supreme Court, but we all know who did it. He bragged about it. And we don't need to get into the politics right now, except to say the minute that it happened, the minute that Donald Trump pushed the red button and annihilated a woman's rights, which he seems to have a perverse subconscious way of focusing on hurting women. He seems to really like hurting women and children, which is pretty sad. And yeah, we don't need to get into that. But Amber Thurman died shortly after that because right away certain states already had the law in place, or the laws, right? Texas was one of those states. Texas was one of those states. Georgia was one of those states, I should say. Amber was from Georgia. Candace Miller also died in Georgia. She was trying to have an abortion at home, and something was going wrong. She took her medication as she should, but then she was afraid. She was afraid to go to the hospital. I'm just realizing that on my TikTok feed, you guys aren't seeing anything at all. You're just hearing me from a dark void. So let me see if I can actually get a signal over here on TikTok. It looks like my YouTube signal is strong. And I'm very happy about that, people. Very happy about the YouTube signal being nice and strong. No comments on YouTube yet. Maybe somebody will give us a comment here before long. We don't need comments on this show, but I want to keep it calm and relaxing. But I also want to share some cool images with you. So that's why I have to fix the TikTok now. So bear with me, if you will. I don't want the kids over on TikTok to get too distressed. By the way, our handle on YouTube, if you want to watch repeats, if you want to watch this show later at night when you're trying to sleep, and you can put it on loop, and I'll try to create a sonic environment that lends itself to deep sleep. I'm not sure that's possible, but I'm gonna try. I'm your brother Seamus. I'm a licensed psychologist for 30 years and a licensed minister for about 10 years. But I should be clear, I'm an atheist minister. Oh, there we go. Now we're back. I was trying to be cute so that I could put the image up high, and I found a template for it. I don't know if any of you are on TikTok. Most people do their live streams. On their phone, which I've done too, and I like, but I'm trying out the desktop because then I can run OBS and I can go from one screen to another, and it's very satisfying. However, their software is kind of, I don't know what the right word is. It's not great. I'm also, so on TikTok, if you want to follow me for now, because it looks like they might be going away, at Brother Seamus Show on YouTube and on TikTok. But please follow me on YouTube, because that's where I'll put all the reruns, if you will. I've been mostly getting rid of reruns lately, but I'm going to keep some of them over on YouTube. That's where we'll be if TikTok disappears. I'm afraid it will disappear because it looks like there's too much pushing against it, and I think there's a bunch of stuff we don't know just yet. But thanks for coming to the show. This is the Brother Seamus Show. If you're on TikTok watching, there's a poll happening right now. It's a test. I always say this will be on the exam. So the exam is happening right now. You have 15 minutes and 33 seconds to complete your single question exam. Display capture thing here. I wonder what that looks like. Huh. Nothing special. I'm going to close that. Oops. I don't think I should be closing that. There we go. to give you a look at, for those of you on TikTok who don't use YouTube, I wanted to give you a look at my YouTube page. And if you subscribe on there, it's just like anything else, right? You'll get used to the format. So this is what the Brother Seamus YouTube page looks like. And that is a brain. I don't know if you can see this. That right there is a brain that's got thalamocortical connections happening. So there's the thalamus in the center of the little brain there. I wish I could make this bigger. I really need to have this as a big slide, don't I? But basically the thalamus is down in the middle and it's shooting out roots to the cortex. And until that happens, ladies and gentlemen, until that happens, nobody's home. And I know that makes people upset. And I want to clarify, that doesn't mean in any way that the grief is not real. If you really wanted a baby, but your fetus developed abnormalities this is one of the critical things of today's episode, through no fault of your own, if your fetus didn't do well, because pregnancy is dicey business, Mother Nature is kind of a gambler. That's why she gives you tens, hundreds of thousands of ovum, and men have millions of sperm. By the way, if life begins at conception, what about the life of the sperm? The sperm had a life. The word life is a failure of a word. We have to do better. We have to be more precise. What do you mean by life exactly? If I, this is just an example, an argument. I'm being argumentative or didactic, one of the two. I'm not sure which. If I'm brain dead, let's say I have a terrible motorcycle accident, and I'm riding my dirt bike, and I go off a ramp at 50 miles an hour to jump into a giant mud pit, but then somehow I break my neck. And now I'm paraplegic, but my heart and lungs are still working. I'm still pumping blood. The base of my brain is still functioning. The base of your brain controls a lot of your, automatic functions, breathing, respiration, all that, or breathing and respiration, both. Heart rate, what we psychologists like to refer to as autonomic nervous functions. Automatic. But let's say my conscious mind is gone. I'm gone. I'm just a body. I'm a husk. And people don't like to think of it because they want to name their fetus and they want to turn their fetus into a baby. And so they're anthropomorphizing, and I just want to say it's not a crime, but it's just probably not very good for you. That's all I'm saying. I'm not passing judgment. So when women have, through no fault of their own, something goes wrong with their abortion or with their pregnancy, let's say, for example, that let's say the fetus is developing and it's got a heartbeat, but all of the organs are developing on the outside of the body. Now what? It's not going to live. It doesn't have a conscious mind yet. It's similar to an adult in a state of deep sedation. There's really nobody there. there's really nobody home. However, the hope that you were going to have a baby eventually, and the more attached you were to that hope, the more grief you'll have. And that's fine. You're entitled to grief. I'm not trying to take away anyone's grief. But it's probably a good idea to not set yourself up for extra grief, is kind of what I'm getting at. It's the Brother Seamus Show. You may not agree with me, but what I hope you will do is try your best to empathize with what not just the women are going through, but what the families are going through. And, for example, one woman in the story talks about how the state, because of the laws, and I believe this was Idaho, that they could not provide an abortion, even though her fetus had essentially, it was going to never live. It was going to be born, and then it was going to suffocate immediately. And she points out that, how is that an act of kindness for a fetus? It doesn't have a chance to really even breathe in a breath before it dies. So I hope you'll watch it. It's on Hulu. And it's a very particular group of families that are affected by this. Now, the good news is many of these families can go on to have other children if that's what they wanted. But some of the women, if your care is delayed for too long, it can really reduce, or in some cases, if it's extreme, eliminate your chances of having a future successful pregnancy. So I'm really what your Brother Seamus is trying to do, the big secret, the thing that I'm trying to cause here, what I'm trying to cause is empathy for these families. Nobody dies. The fetus dies. That's why I hesitated there. But nobody dies. No fully grown, developed human that has a consciousness dies. But these families get put through hell. They really get put through hell. So I just want you to have some empathy for them, that's all. I don't work for ABC News. I don't work for Hulu. But if you want to watch this on Hulu, it's called On the Brink. Diane Sawyer and Rachel Scott report on pregnant women with high-risk pregnancies in states that have enforced their own laws since the Supreme Court overturned Roe versus Wade. So when Donald Trump says, no, I gave it back to the states, your response to that should be, yeah, and the states immediately began banning abortion to such a degree that you have to leave your own state and that your life might be at risk because they're scared to help you. No exceptions for fetal anomalies. No exception.
I say no because I shouldn't have to. I shouldn't have to leave my home to ask us or to tell us that we just need to leave our home, our family, our roots. That's asinine. Shouldn't have to leave my home.
I think that this young woman gives the best argument in the preview. I think she hits the nail on the head. Why would you have to leave a state?
Shouldn't have to leave my home.
She shouldn't have to. She should not have to leave her home. That's the whole point. That's where the empathy has to kick in. If something happens to your fetus and it is developing its organs on the outside of its body and it's going to suffocate immediately on birth, and what you're told is that, oh no, that kind of medical care isn't for you. You have to leave the state to get it. Why? You're not saving a baby. There's no baby saving there.
Ask us or to tell us that we just need to leave.
You're just harming
our
a family.
Home, our family, our roots. I say no because if I shouldn't have to. I shouldn't have to leave my home. To ask us or to tell us that we just need to leave our home, our family, our roots. Our home, our family, our roots. Our home, our family, our roots. That's asinine.
It is asinine. So not only are these families being told, oh, you need health care and your fetus is not going to survive no matter what, or it's going to survive in such a horrible, terrible state that it's akin to torture, you can't have that care. Yeah, but we didn't do anything wrong. This is what happens with pregnancy. Sometimes it goes awry. There can be genetic reasons. There are lots of reasons. They often don't even know what the reason is because it's so freaking possible. That's why you have hundreds of thousands of ovum to begin with if you're born with a uterus. And millions, billions of sperm. I don't even know how many sperm there are. Because Mother Nature knows. God knows, if you believe in God, that it's dicey business. You may have to try again. It may not complete, and you may be sad, and that's okay. But unless it's really close to the end of gestation, it's probably not a thinking being with a psyche or with any sort of self-awareness whatsoever. And forcing these women, the one woman was told, by the way, you can read all of this on the ABC News page. This is very readable. I may have had the audio too quiet there. Let me take a look-see. Let me see how it's doing on my audio. Yeah, that's probably too low. Let's turn it up a little bit. They told one woman that the heart was still beating, and even though the baby was, see there, I made the mistake. The fetus was never going to live. They couldn't do anything about it because there was still a fetal heartbeat. Luckily, these women found places and they could afford it. They could afford to leave their jobs, make appointments out of state, and go somewhere else because whatever happened to them through no fault of their own, the kind of care they need is not available. It's like if you sliced your, this is going to sound gross, but I'm going to go ahead and say it. It's like if you sliced your penis off by accident. If you sliced off your penis by accident and you went to the ER and they said, no, we can't reattach penises because we believe that we have a religious objection to doing that. We've created a religious objection in the law. And you might say, yeah, but I didn't know I was going to get my penis sliced off. And they'd say, well, too bad. And you'd say, that's ridiculous. You can't treat me. You know the treatment I need, and you can't give it to me? No, you just have to wait. Well, if I wait, I risk sepsis and bleeding out. So the religious belief that's now taken a hold in places like Idaho is that a microorganism, an undeveloped human, has the right to put these other fully grown humans' lives at risk. So the life of the mother, quote unquote, life of the mother doesn't seem to matter one bit when it comes to these laws. You have to err on the side of the fetus, is what it looks like to me. And the way they err on the side of the fetus is by making a woman wait for treatment, or they make her leave. Or she has to leave the state altogether, right? It's not enough to be in this bad situation.
Have the care that we need in our home states. We shouldn't have to flee.
I'm a sixth-generation Idahoan and very proud to be one. I had to leave the state. I had to drive 6 hours away. Couldn't be with my family, couldn't be with my friends. It was trauma on tragedy.
They always say, like, oh, the law should have allowed you to just do this. And if you were bad off enough, then they should have just performed it for you. And that's not the reality. Our doctors don't speak legalese.
There are so many women that this happens to that don't have the resources, that don't have the support, that are stigmatized and forced into silence.
My daughter was given a nickname of Spooky because she was due on Halloween of this year.
Anybody out there who thinks, go to another state, just go to another state.
I say no because if I shouldn't have to. I shouldn't have to leave my home to ask us or to tell us that we just need to leave our home, our family, our roots. That's asinine. That's asinine. We should all be able to have the care that we need in our home states. We shouldn't have to flee.
I'm a sixth-generation Idahoan and very proud to be one. I had to leave the state. I had to drive 6 hours away. Couldn't be with my family, couldn't be with my friends. It was trauma on tragedy.
They always say, like, oh, the law should have allowed you to just do this. And if you were bad off enough, then they should have just performed it for you. And that's not the reality. Our doctors don't speak legalese.
There are so many women that this happens to that don't have the resources, that don't have the support, that are stigmatized and forced into silence.
My daughter was given a nickname of Spooky because she was due on Halloween of this year.
Anybody out there who thinks, go to another state, just go to another state.
I say no because if I shouldn't have to. I shouldn't have to leave my home to ask us or to tell us that we just need to leave our home, our family, our roots. That's asinine. That's asinine. We should all be able to have the care that we need in our home states. We shouldn't have to flee.
I'm a sixth-generation Idahoan and very proud to be one. I had to leave the state. I had to drive 6 hours away. Couldn't be with my family, couldn't be with my friends. It was trauma on tragedy.
They always say, like, oh, the law should have allowed you to just do this. And if you were bad off enough, then they should have just performed it for you. And that's not the reality. Our doctors don't speak legalese.
There are so many women that this happens to that don't have the resources, that don't have the support, that are stigmatized and forced into silence.
My daughter was given a nickname of Spooky because she was due on Halloween of this year.
Anybody out there who thinks, go to another state, just go to another state. Anybody out out there who thinks, go to another state, just go to another state.
I say no, because if...
And
I think
anybody out there who thinks, go to
Diane
another
Sawyer
state,
here is
just
making
go
a
to
very...
another state.
She's making a very good point. They make it sound so easy to just go to another state. Well, first of all, as Jennifer points out, why should you have to? You've done nothing wrong. The fact that the pregnancy is not working out was an act of God. Now, I may be an atheist, but I'm also a preacher, and I can recognize an act of God when I see one. And then we're going to torture Jennifer and her family? Or anyone in their any human with a uterus gets tortured because a bunch of politicians, I don't want to sound like I'm oversimplifying it, but a bunch of politicians decided, a bunch of male politicians decided that even if a woman is having fetal anomalies, if she's experiencing problems with her pregnancy, because it just happens that she is, I want to use the term persona non grata. Like, oh, no, sorry, we don't like you anymore, get out. But wait, I didn't do anything wrong. Doesn't matter, get out. We're not taking care of you. Go away. Your fetus still has a heartbeat. Yeah, but he's not going to survive. She's not going to survive. We already named her, we wanted her, but she's not going to survive. Doesn't matter, leave the state. To me, it feels like modern shunning, but the implications of the shun are much more powerful than just emotional. It can put your life at risk. Fortunately, I believe I watched this whole this first episode. I hope there's more, but I watched this last night and nobody died. But I think in a couple cases it really created some high risk. Now, we talked in the last episode about women who actually die because they're having a miscarriage and they're being told to wait, or they're forcing, I believe it's a fetal ultrasound to prove that the fetus doesn't have a heartbeat. That's where it seems like a lot of people are getting hung up on the heartbeat. And I got news with you, people. I got news for you, not with you. A heart is just a pump. I know you don't really want to think of it that way, but a heart is just a pump. So Amber and Candy and Jennifer and Joselie and Portia are the otherwise healthy young women who have died in both Georgia and Texas because of these kinds of laws that scare doctors. That's what they do. They scare doctors. The doctors balk, they call it in baseball, where you aren't sure what to do, so you try to buy yourself a little bit of time, kind of. And they need to be following their Hippocratic oath, but they need to link arms and create a legal defense fund for physicians and their families that covers all 100% legal expenses, because this is the only way you're going to survive this. You have to fight like a mother effer, and you need a legal defense fund that you're all paying into, mostly, OBGYNs and emergency folks. I don't know who would end up doing the DNC or the D&E, but you should all be paying in. Oh boy, I got way too many screens going. What have I done? I've created a monster over here, people. I've got that screen, and that screen, and that screen's gotta go. Okay, that one can stay. Legal defense fund for doctors. It should also cover lost wages. You can't go to fight these people. And here's the thing. These laws are based on religious extremism. They've just gone too far, and they know they've gone too far, but they love it. They love the power. They're stuck, and they're not going to give the power up, right? They're not going to give it up. You have to fight them for it, but you have to protect your family. If you're a physician and you know you need to follow your Hippocratic oath and provide care that's needed when it's needed, because you're going to get sued also by the family. So think about it that way. By letting Ken Paxton bully you with threatening letters, by letting any state government bully you, you're allowing them to get you to violate your oath, and they're setting you up for a lawsuit from the family. And I'm pretty sure that the women are linking arms and preparing to sue. I hope it's a national suit so it moves up to the Supreme Court faster, because we need to find out from the 3 Supreme Court justices that Donald Trump appointed if it's okay with them if we let women die or almost die, or we force them out of their own home state through no fault of their own. Let's get that in court as soon as possible, and it's coming anyway. So my point is, if you're a physician and you have a legal defense fund, you can all fight together. We'll all go down together, as they say. And everyone out there that's enjoying the Brother Seamus Show, welcome. Please leave your thoughts and ideas over here. I do occasionally check the comments. But if you really want to talk to me, call me at 509-676-6032. I support anyone's right to believe that abortion is not right for them. But the anti-abortion people, I call them extremists because I think this is an extreme law when it starts causing otherwise healthy women to either die or be traumatized because the state wants to declare that an undeveloped fetus has a bigger constitutional right to life than a fully grown, mature woman. Okay. Let's see. I don't see any comments so far. It looks like nobody's listening. Nobody's saying anything, but I appreciate you guys stopping by. When you do stop by, please give me a follow. I know I hate to beg for follows, but it does help. I'm almost to 1,000 followers, so that's kind of cool. I don't know what happens when I get to 1,000, but I've heard some cool shit happens when you get, like, maybe they come to your house. I'm hoping it's somebody, a full-grown human adult wearing a costume. I hope they come to my house and sing me a song about having 1,000 followers. Although, as soon as I get 1,000, they're going to sell TikTok, and the algorithm will not come with it. So I don't know what it will be like. I think we'll still have a TikTok, but I don't think it'll have the same algorithm. Because I believe that is protected information, and I don't think the government is going to... I don't think the U.S. government is going to be allowed access to that, is my hunch. And it doesn't belong to the U.S. government, so we'll see. You're listening to Zud, Dronescape number 8, ladies and gentlemen. You're listening to Zud, Dronescape number 8, and you can listen to Zud on YouTube, specifically on a channel called Something Television. And Zud is spelled X-U-D. I'm going to show you a Zud page here in a second. There's Zud. Come to the top, Zud. I hope you're enjoying your evening. I hope this helps you sleep. I hope you like my stagecraft for today. That's a handmade abortion saves women sign. And I made it with bingo markers. And you can buy it for $20 plus shipping and handling. I haven't sold one, so I can't tell you the shipping and handling. Let's say it's $30. Handmade sign, $30 flat. I feel like that's fair. So direct message me if you want one of those bad boys. Now I'll warn you that it's a really good sign. The material is hard plastics. It's made to be outside, and it comes with a post. I'll mail you the post as well if you want it, and you can put it out in your yard. However, because it's done with bingo marker, it's non-toxic and washable. It'll wash right off in the rain, and you just have to do it again. Or you do it with spray paint, and it'll last forever, and the toxins will get in your lungs and last forever as well. That's how I feel about spray paint. So where is Zud? I was telling you about Zud. Let me pop him up on the screen there. Zud does ambient minimalist video soundscapes. This one's called Memories by Zud. And you can watch this on a channel called Something Television, which I also own. And I do soundscapes over here sometimes as well. Let's take a quick look at Something Television so you can see. It looks like that. If you want to subscribe, we don't have we have 78 subscribers. Way too loud, way too loud. Sorry about that, folks, if you're trying to sleep. I'm gonna turn that way down. Let me get on my headphones for a minute and check my levels. Okay, that sounds pretty good. I'd love to be able to hear what's going out on oops. I'd love to be able to hear what's going out on the other side of the OBS switcher. The only signal I get is from the live show is pretty delayed. But this will give you a look at, this is Something Television, people. This is where you can find Zud and other artists. This is called Orange Popsicle. There you go, folks. That's some Orange Popsicle. It might be, I apologize if it's real late at night and that woke you up. But I wanted to call your attention to that location for more if you enjoy that kind of sound. That was more raucous, and when Zud takes over the program, usually it's more minimalistic. If you like that stuff, I would go to the playlist called Something Television Live, which you can see on your screen right there. That's where, if you want to hear more Zud, that's the playlist where Zud is most likely to end up. Let's take a peek at this playlist. I really want you to follow Zud and follow Something Television. That's my secret goal here. Oh yeah, so this took us right to Zud's Dreamscape number 8, which is a delicious piece of ambient juiciness. And I think it's playing, but it's very quiet. Here it comes. Let's jump ahead a little bit. So this is Dronescape number 8. I use this for my program quite often, but today I was working with the latest Zud track that he dropped just last week, I believe. There we go. That gives you a better idea what Zud sounds like. This is Dronescape 8. I think I'm going to jump back to his latest. Let's take a look-see. Oh, it looks like his latest isn't added to the playlist yet. Well, oh, memories. Yeah, let's add memories to the playlist. Why not, right? Why not add memories to the playlist? So, ladies and gentlemen, if you're just joining us, this is the Brother Seamus Show, where I go for about 90 minutes, and today we're talking about what happens if you live in a state like Idaho, where through no fault of your own you have a fetal anomaly, and the fetus is not going to survive, even if you thought it was, even if you had already named the fetus, which I caution against. But they will tell you you can't get the care you need because that care falls under the label of an abortion. And even though in this report that we're highlighting today, an ABC News Hulu program, they combined, ABC News and Hulu combined, and they created this program about these women who had to leave the state at great cost to themselves, and in some cases it was, it may have been risky for them to wait, but they were able to do it. They were able to go out of state and get what they needed. But why in the world would we want to put people through that? It makes no sense at all. And that's what our show is about how this makes no sense. And that we've done it to ourselves in a way, partly by not enough of us voting against anybody that would do this, but also we've allowed a really, truly extreme religious belief to take over state government, if you will. So now, even though you might be born and raised in Idaho, they're going to tell you to leave. They're going to tell you to leave the state. And the one guy mentions, and the woman mentions also that, they have to leave their families and their support. That's a huge thing. So at your worst moment, you have to leave the people behind who could help you the most. That's essentially what these laws are doing to people. And it's not cool. Let's go back to the video. There's that. So that's what the live stream is doing. Interesting. Let's get rid of that one. Okay. Let's get some music going with us too.
And to anybody out there who thinks, go to another state, just go to another state.
I say no because if I shouldn't have to. I shouldn't have to leave my home to ask us or to tell us that we just need to leave our home, our family, our roots. That's asinine. That's asinine. We should all be able to have the care that we need in our home states. We shouldn't have to flee.
I'm a sixth-generation Idahoan. I'm very proud to be one. I had to leave the state. I had to drive 6 hours away. Couldn't be with my family, couldn't be with my friends. It was trauma on tragedy.
That's what happens, folks, and I don't want to talk over this too much, but if I don't talk
They
over
always
it
say,
some,
like, oh, the law should have allowed you to just do this.
I think they'll flag
And
it for
if you were
copyright,
bad
even
off
though
enough,
if
then
anybody's
they
thinking
should have
about
just
flagging
performed
this
it
for
for you.
copyright,
And that's not the reality. Our doctors don't speak
please
legalese.
keep in mind.
There are so many women that this happens to that don't have the resources, that don't have the support, that are stigmatized and forced into silence.
My daughter was given a
Keep in
nickname
mind, this
of
is a
Spooky.
preview that
She
ABC
was
News put
due on
out and
Halloween
Hulu
of
put
this
out,
year.
and it's available in the public sector. And I think I'm using it under what would be considered fair use. That doesn't always matter to the social media companies, but let's see what happens. And if I add some nice music over the top, a lot of times.
And
that
to
will
anybody out
help.
there who thinks, go to another state, just go to another state.
Doesn't seem
I
to
say
want
no
me
because if
to play.
I
my
shouldn't have to. I shouldn't have to leave my home to ask us or to tell us that we just need to leave our home, our family, our roots. That's asinine. That's asinine. We should all be able to have the care that we need in our home states. We shouldn't have to flee.
I'm a sixth-generation
100%
Idahoan. I'm very
true.
proud to be one. I had to leave the state. I had to drive 6 hours away. Couldn't be with my family, couldn't be with my friends. It was trauma on tragedy. It was trauma on tragedy. Trauma on tragedy. Trauma on tragedy.
Our doctors don't speak legalese.
There are so many women that this happens to that don't have the resources, that don't have the support, that are stigmatized and forced into silence. There are so many women that this happens to that don't have the resources, that don't have the support, that are stigmatized and forced into silence. There are so many women that this happens to that don't have the resources, that don't have the support, that are stigmatized and forced into silence.
I just want to reinforce that point that he's making. It's a very smart point, and it's something that I think helps build empathy. Not everyone can pick up and leave their home state, and forget about, as if you read the article, by the way, which is at the ABC News site, you can read the stories, and there's a lot more than what you're seeing here. I'm just giving you the trailer. you get to meet these folks and you get to read their stories. And what he's pointing out is a lot of these folks had resources. They had the ability to get out. Not everyone has that. And why should you have to escape your own state when you're simply experiencing natural pregnancy? Natural pregnancy leads to miscarriages and it leads to fetal anomalies, and these families had no control over that. And the doctors have a job to help them, but instead, these are regular people with first names and last names. In some cases, they were devastated to learn that they were going to lose the pregnancy, but if your fetus is going to be born with such medical problems that it's not going to survive, or it's going to survive briefly and miserably, how are these laws? How are these laws in any way humane? These women survived the experience, but they had to flee, and without some financial stability or support, or being really, I think you got to be well above middle class to be able to pull that off. So he's making an excellent point. The state basically excommunicates you, which is, for those of you that understand religion, especially puritanical religions, one of their biggest punishments is to excommunicate you. The Brother Seamus Show is, we'll say, sponsored by Humans for Democracy. If you want to help Brother Seamus run social media ads calling for a national referendum on abortion, calling for common sense when we're talking about a fetus that has no conscious brain functioning, and that we're leaving women in these dangerous situations where they have to flee and they have to come up with thousands and thousands of dollars and miss work because their body did what bodies do, especially during pregnancy. You know what the human body does during pregnancy? Sometimes it misfires. So get yourself a Proud Snowflake coffee mug, and I'll continue to push these ideas everywhere on social media. And as part of the fun thing that Humans for Democracy is going to do, they're going to show us exactly how much they spent on each ad that's put out there. That was my idea. Thank you very much. You can get an Immigrants Make Great Americans t-shirt. You can get a Proud Snowflake coffee mug. You can get an anti-racist t-shirt through bonfire.com. They're the t-shirt people and the mug people. Humans for Democracy. Bonfire.com/humans for democracy. And you can go to humansfordemocracy.org, and you can read a little bit about more about the counter speech ads that we're getting after over here. Why did I go back so far? I'm going to go back to Humans for Democracy. I'm getting crazy with the clicking here, people. Welcome to the show. I'm your brother Seamus. You can watch us on TikTok and YouTube. All of the reruns, everything will be stored over on YouTube, and I think TikTok may not be the same after the sale, assuming it gets sold, which is sad. I don't want to go down that whole rabbit hole. Let's stay focused on abortion. If you have any thoughts, or if you're just listening at night trying to fall asleep, that's cool. Feel free to put your questions in the question box over here. Or if you feel like a calm conversation, give your brother Seamus a call at 509-676-6032. I think we should play some more of this video from ABC News. You can see it on TikTok, or sorry, you can see it here on TikTok, but you can see it on Hulu. If you have the app, I think there's a free Hulu app, so it shouldn't cost you anything. It's an ABC News Hulu special can read about it on abcnews.com. Just Google ABC News, and On the Brink is the name of the Hulu special. It looks like the print article is showing up under abcnews.go.com. And I think the phrase "delayed and denied" is in the title. And I think I posted that. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I posted the link to the news article, which takes you to the video preview that we're watching today. Thankfully, all of these women survived, but I think you can hear that the husbands and the wives, the dads and the moms, or the dads and the dads, or the moms and the moms, I think you can hear the trauma in their voices. And that's why I keep replaying certain parts of it. I want you to hear, I think they're getting at the core of the issue here.
My daughter was given a nickname of Spooky because she was due on Halloween of this year.
Idaho's abortion ban has no exception for fetal anomalies. No exception.
And anybody out there who thinks, go to another state, just go to another state.
I say no because if I shouldn't have to. I shouldn't have to leave my home to ask us or to tell us that we just need to leave our home, our family, our roots. That's asinine. That's asinine. We should all be able to have the care that we need in our home states. We shouldn't have to flee.
I'm a sixth-generation Idahoan. I'm very proud to be one. I had to leave the state. I had to drive 6 hours away. Couldn't be with my family, couldn't be with my friends. It was trauma on tragedy.
They always say, like, oh, the law should have allowed you to just do this. And if you were bad off enough, then they should have just performed it for you. And that's not the reality. Our doctors don't speak legalese.
There are so many women that this happens to that don't have the resources, that don't have the support, that are stigmatized and forced into silence.
My daughter was given a nickname of Spooky because she was due on Halloween of this year.
Anybody out there who thinks, go to another state, just go to another state.
I say no because if I shouldn't have to. I shouldn't have to leave my home to ask us or to tell us that we just need to leave our home, our family, our roots. That's asinine. That's asinine. I shouldn't have to leave my home to leave my home. Have to. I shouldn't have to leave my home. I shouldn't have to. I shouldn't have to leave my home to ask us or to tell us that we just need to leave our home, our family, our roots. That's asinine. That's asinine. We should all be able to have the care to ask us or to tell us that we just need to leave our home, our family, our roots. That's asinine. That's asinine. We should all be able to have the care that we need. All be able to have the care that we need. And we should all be able to have the care that we need. And we should all be able to have the care that we need. And we should all be able to have the care that we need.
I think she nailed it. That's at the crux of the argument. Why should you or her or someone you care about, a family you care about, your daughter, your sister, your mother, your cousin, why should they be told they have to leave? Why?
In our home states, we shouldn't have to flee.
I'm a sixth-generation Idahoan. I'm very proud to be one. I had to leave the state. I had to drive 6 hours away. Couldn't be with my family, couldn't be with my friends. It was trauma on tragedy.
They always say, like, oh, the law should have allowed you to just do this. And if you were bad off enough, then they should have just performed it for you. And that's not the reality. Our doctors don't speak legalese.
There are so many women that this happens to that don't have the resources, that don't have the support, that are stigmatized and forced into silence.
My daughter was given a nickname of Spooky because she was due on Halloween of this year.
Anybody out there who thinks, go to another state, just go to another state.
I say no because if I shouldn't have to. I shouldn't have to leave my home to ask us or to tell us that we just need to leave our home, our family, our roots. That's asinine. That's asinine. We should all be able to have the care that we need in our home states. We shouldn't have to flee.
I'm a sixth-generation Idahoan.
All be able to have the care that we need. That's asinine. We should all be able to have the care that we need in our home states. We shouldn't have to flee. We should all be able to have the care that we need in our home states. We shouldn't have to flee.
I'm a sixth-generation Idahoan. I'm very proud to be one. I had to leave the state. I had to drive 6 hours away. Couldn't be with my family, couldn't be with my friends. It was trauma on tragedy.
It was banishment, people. It was banishment. These families, because of a strong religious belief, these families were banished from the healthcare system in Idaho. That's pretty much what it comes down to. Now, you may agree with that, but I hope you'll at least try to understand what it would be like. Try to build empathy. One of the reasons that I encourage people to try to build empathy is because it's good for all of us. It's good for the whole of society, right? It's not just about one person or one group of people. If we have a more empathic society, then no one has to feel like they're gonna be unfairly targeted. But it's a difficult topic. It is a difficult topic, people. But I just want you to keep in mind that if we slow down and we think it through and we don't get our amygdalas too involved in this, that probably what we're really talking about here is the loss of potential human life, and not that a baby was killed. I think that's something that's just something that people got attached to at an emotional level. And it's understandable. It's an understandable attachment. But here on the Brother Seamus Show, we expect more out of the humans. 509-676-6032. You can support us, buy merch. There's a link in the There is a link in the details section above this video, the rebroadcast of this live TikTok, YouTube stream. The reruns, if you will live on YouTube, perhaps forever. Ronnie G is asking on TikTok, or no, he's over on YouTube. I always forget. Hey, Ronnie. Good to see you. When does it end? That's a great question. I can tell you specifically today when it ends. Today it ends at exactly 7 minutes and 30 seconds, Ronnie, is when it ends. I hope that helps. That'll be somewhere around 10 after 2 on a Thursday in Walla Walla, Washington. I need to make some adjustments to my screen layout here. I like the phone number where it is, but I need to, actually I'm lying. I don't like it where it is exactly. Right, yeah, maybe put it right there. Is that good? That seems too high up now. Let's put it back down here. Maybe bigger. Maybe we're just not being bold enough. How about right there? Eh? Oh, that's pretty good. I like that. 509-676-6032. This is the Brother Seamus Show. We were listening to an ABC News Hulu special. You can watch it on Hulu. Just type in ABC News abortion special. You'll probably find it that way. So just to review, you can buy our merch at bonfire.com/humans for democracy. Human fetuses don't even begin to develop consciousness, self-awareness, a psyche, until near the end of gestation. But new abortion laws and restrictions have made it so that essentially a fully grown human woman with a uterus is expendable. That's a little hyperbolic. Her life isn't worth as much as an undeveloped fetus. Because after 50 years, well, maybe more, at least 50 years of quote-unquote right to life folks selling us a lie. I'm sorry to have to be so harsh, but I have to do it. The lie is that abortion kills babies, when in fact the truth is that abortion is a necessary procedure sometimes to keep a fully formed adult human, sometimes a child, human alive. But the emotional impact of the idea that a fetus is a baby, it's so gripping, it's so upsetting for people. And all I'm here to say, I'm not here to judge that. And if you anthropomorphize your fetus and you give it a baby name and you start talking about its personality, when there is nobody home, the more you do that, the more you set yourself up for grief. Pregnancies are tricky. In some cases, they become life-threatening. Nevaeh Crane, who died because they kept sending her home from the emergency room in Texas, she died after, I want to say, about 20 hours, because I think she got septic, or, if you are having a spontaneous abortion, even whether you self-induced it or whether God induced it, if it doesn't resolve itself, your health can go downhill pretty fast. So what's the number one rule? If you need help, go to the emergency room immediately. What's the number two rule? Bring support. Don't go alone. Call somebody, get some help. Somebody that can advocate for you and say, look, she's having a spontaneous miscarriage or there's a fetal anomaly. She needs an abortion. We're not going to mince words. And if she dies because you wouldn't give her a DNC, if she dies, then we're going to get real litigious. Just let them know. And then tell them you want to talk to the hospital advocate. You have a right, whether you're having a spontaneous miscarriage or not, you have a right to life also. And ironically, the group that named themselves Right to Life, I believe, has now developed so much political power that they're now successfully getting women turned away from their own hospitals and their own communities. They've now succeeded. Right to Life has now succeeded in putting fully formed adult women's lives at risk. Well, thank you, Ronnie. Ronnie over on YouTube says, I appreciate all you do for the people of Cascadia and the Cosmic Rift. I appreciate you too, Ronnie. And I would love to see, I don't know if you have any good photos of you or whoever out there in the Cosmic Rift. I'm picturing a surfboard. A cosmic surfboard. So we've got about a minute and a half here. I want to say thanks to everybody for joining us today. Let's see what the transition gives us. It looks like a transition to nothing. Let's try that again. Oh, there it goes. There we go. Abortion does save women. I know it seems backwards because we're so used to this idea that abortion kills babies, but of course that was a lie. It's always been a lie. And I aim to turn it the other way. I want us to think it through. Let's reclaim this line, right? And keep women alive. It's a pretty simple request, right? Brother Seamus Show. Welcome to the 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 Brother Seamus Show. Brother Seamus Show. Welcome to the Brother Seamus Show. Welcome to the Brother Seamus Show. Let me assure that. Let me assure this. Let me assure that. But this. Let me assure that. But this. Welcome to the Brother Seamus Show. Welcome to the Brother Seamus Show. Welcome to the Brother Seamus Show.